We are Centerite Entertainment, and we are glad to introduce our game, Wizard's Last Stand. The player is an elder magician that is currently teaching a small group of students. This magician recently exiled one of his students for joking around and playing games during class. One day, the magician arrives to his class late to find that the room was ransacked. The only thing that was not out of place was a portable gaming console. When the magician picked up the console and turned it on, he was sucked into the digital realm of the game. He was greeted by a message from his exiled student, informing him that the rest of his students are also in the game, and if he wants everyone to get out safe, he will have to play the game. The Wizard's Last Stand is intended for players that are between the ages of 8 and 18. Similar games like Candy Crush Saga, Tetris, and Galaxy Shooter Space Invaders have somewhere between 500,000 to 1 million downloads. That is one reason why we can safely confirm that our game will attract the most attention from players within this age group because of the puzzle and fantasy elements. We plan to release the game for both iOS and Android smartphones to provide players with a free-to-play, low-cost game. Additionally, we intend to include microtransactions for currency, energy, and lives. We decided to take a simplistic approach, and that is why our game relies on 5 main mechanics. Those mechanics fall under the categories of translate, defense, memorization, wagering, and win or loss. Translate allows the player to walk and move blocks around and arrange them in a specific position to avoid getting hit by fireballs. The player will be able to tap and hold their finger on blocks and move them around the screen by dragging their finger. Additionally, the player will be able to move the magician around with the help of a virtual joystick and a jump button. This movement is similar to how players can pick up and move around the companion cubes in Portal. Defense allows the player to protect themselves from fireballs in the level as they get faster. In order for a player to defend themselves, they will need to use the translate mechanic to block and trap fireballs. This is only a temporary defense, as the fireball will do damage to the blocks they touch over time. Our defense mechanic is similar to Maze Ice Wall in Overwatch. With the update of the design of the game, we've implemented memorization as a mechanic. We've taken away the time limit of each stage and have replaced it with a different fireball wave set and patterns that the player must avoid. Each level will now have a certain amount of fireballs that will move in that level's specific pattern. This allows players to come up with strategies based off the memorization of the level's design and pattern. Understanding the patterns will allow the player to beat the level in less moves. Which brings us to wagering. Wagering is a mechanic that we are introducing to help make each level feel more strategic. Before each level, the player gets to bet on how many moves they think they will need to finish the level. They bet by wagering points they've earned from completing levels. If players finish that level at the number they wagered or less, they will receive bonus points. Just like poker, when the player knows they have a good hand or level, they will be willing to make riskier bets in order to receive the most points possible. These points are important because at this stage of the game, we are introducing online leaderboards, so wagering is key to beat your friends. Our win and loss mechanic is simple and clear to the player. It is similar to the way players win or lose in Rainbow Six Siege. In this example, Jaeger is under fire from the enemy IQ. He tries to take her out, but is unable to before she gets him. This loses rounds for his team. As he was the last teammate standing, in Wizard's Last Stand, if the player can survive the fireballs, they win. If the wizard dies, it's game over. In the first iteration of Wizard's Last Stand, we had a time constraint as an additional stressor to our players. Beyond simply just avoiding being hit by the fireballs, players were at risk of timing out. This is at odds with the casual nature of the game as a pick up and put down mobile game. Many players would find that they were both stressed by life interrupting the game as well as frustrated by the time itself. As such, we've removed the timer and have instead allowed for players to memorize the pattern of a level and wager their skill against it. This allows players to take that level at their own pace and push their skills as they're comfortable. This does mean that we have a little more development time in level packs, but in the end, it will expand the lifespan of our game, which is a net positive. Skilled players will be rewarded by high payouts on their wagers, while lesser skilled players will be able to incrementally build the score. We hope our game has you interested. We plan to make many improvements in the future with your help. Thank you for your time.